has has gained such a foothold in Africa is not so much through aid.
That almost that swing state when it comes to things like defense industrial cooperation, that it wants them to take on more responsibility, and then they take away the keys when Europeans try to drive the car.
Ask for a more predictable America, one that would consult, that would coordinate, and that would respect the norms of NATO consensus. And America, in turn, has asked for a more...
Response has been the same, at least in the first instance, and that has been diversification and hedging, looking to which bilateral relationships you can...
to European audience. Europe is no longer the theater of priority for being NATO. Or perhaps that reassurance now comes at the cost of realism, because if we want Europe...
does provide them a little bit of leverage, but their administration is also learning that isolation is not possible. Think about it. They came into office saying we're going to focus on the Indo-Pacific and we're going to focus on domestic issues. Where have they spent most of their time? And I think that can also be extended to different industries. I see it not just in defense, but also in terms of technology and industrial relationships.
Putin and Trump. Arguably, they've done more for European unity than anybody since Jean Monnet. They are
in both the best position and the worst position in Europe. They are in, because of that uniquely close relationship.
To be clear, I'm not saying they can do this tomorrow, but I am saying that the true test of Europe's readiness...
and will command more respect and have more influence. Now, the reality is that those perspectives, I really appreciated the last panel because it really underscored something that I was anything. It is a clear signal that they are ready, at least in theory, to step away from that paternalism and let Europeans drive. I've never heard the phrase lead from behind, taking similar but not identical positions. I'm not sure if that's healthy or not. So,
the strategic pivot of the United States away from Europe that was discussed this morning, and perhaps toward Russia as we, for Donald Trump or Vladimir Putin to move them forward.
Crystal clear. So, you might not want to be a part of...
Could be a European.
Well, part of the challenge we face is that it's the resources that are bound in this region. So really, when you talk of the new scramble for Africa, it's precisely that. So Africa is beginning to face a lot of proxy battles for critical minerals and other resources that are being sought for in this particular region. And I think there's a call that we need to make, that there's also need to respect African institutions. The African Union, the East African Community, the ECOWAS, you can name these economic regional blocs, because we're also seeing a process where the unilateralism is beginning to undermine the very institutions that are African. And therefore, for us to be able to resolve various political crises internally through dialogue is being undermined in many different stages. And this is prolonging the process of conflict. And as I said, it is extremely costly. Terrorism and all other forms of challenges that come with it are beginning to really take their toll on the African continent. So we need to strengthen African institutions and work with them so that they can become more effective in resolving some of the crises that we have. Well, I think maybe for lack of a better word, I think one should take China seriously. We have just come from an engagement in Beijing, Changsha, where there was the midterm review of China's engagement with Africa under the FOCAC framework. And the China government made a very profound statement. They said that they have now made a decision to provide 100% tariff-free market access for goods and products originating from Africa. Now, this is a profound statement, bearing in mind that one of the key programs within the United States and Africa relationship has been the AGOA framework, which is coming to an end in September. We also can see a situation where, if I speak for Kenya, we have also negotiated an economic partnership agreement with the European Union so that we can be able to support manufacturers and producers in our country to access at more competitive levels to these markets. Now, I say that it needs to be taken seriously because as the West perhaps looks at it differently and begins to step back, China is stepping in. So it is something that needs to be taken seriously, and it's a soft power. As you close the US aid, China is stepping in. So it is something that needs to be looked at in the context of how do we strengthen the global trade environment so that it can be a fair opportunity for everybody, no matter which continent you are in and no matter the state of your economy. These are fundamental issues that we